oh. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Let's Talk Fabulous. And hopefully, I can hear you. You can hear me. For some odd reason, it's saying I'm muted, but I'm just going to keep talking. So, with that said, welcome up to Let's Talk Fabulous with Tamara L. Hunter. And I know you're probably saying, but Barbara, again, why do you keep doing this to us every week? Because I'm a guest host, and with her kingdomship of a queen, she has I humble myself that she asked me to come on and do some of her shows. And believe me, I have been having some fun. We've been having some wonderful panelists come on. We've been talking about some good topics, some good feel good topics. You know, it's all about let's talk fabulous, right? So today our topic, since everybody knows what kind of the weather is right now, it's kind of hot in some areas, rainy in some areas. If you're going overseas, maybe it's really, you see that wonderful sun of rising or anything. Well, it's summertime. It's summertime. And as you can see my background, I kind of was going with the flow here because our topic for today is let's talk fabulous summer travel and entertainment. Think about that. This is the time that you can get out and just do things. And I have a wonderful group of individuals that has traveled overseas, everywhere. I mean, they've been everywhere. And I have some that's been everywhere, and some that's been like in the States and traveled and just did road trips. So any way you want to do it, I'm telling you, we're going to talk about that today. So let's get started, and we will be right back. Yes, the fabulous panelists. How you doing today, everybody? Yay.
Hey, Barbara.
Hey, Barbara.
Hello. First of all, thank you everybody for coming on, especially on a Sunday. I mean, you could be doing anything else, especially it's summertime, right? But you're here with us in the group. So before we start, I have another wonderful, I call the women queens. And she usually comes on to do her her intro too. Her name is Mrs. Renee. I'm going to let her do her spill, and then we're going to get started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's fabulous show. My name is Renee Reich, founder of Finding Your Voice Network, Finding Your Voice Network magazine, and women's life and leadership coach. Today, we'll be joined by guest host Barbara Beckley, and she will be joined by a wonderful set of expert panelists talking about summer travel and entertainment. You are going to want to tune in for this show because it's all about possibilities of what you can do this summer. So like I always say, grab your pencils, grab your notebooks, and join us for another episode of today's fabulous show. Barbara, take it away.
Okay. I had to put my shades on. Here we got the shades. Yeah, there we go. So what Renee said, she said, get your pen out, get your paper out. I got old school. Yeah, I got the old school. If you can see it through my whatever.
I'm old school, Barbara. I'm with you. I'm with you. I am old school.
I got the little composition one. If everybody can see it. Yeah, see, there we go. Thank you, Scott, for making me feel good and don't feel so old. So with that, I want to first make sure that we introduce, it's bad because when you get old, when you got to put your glasses and then put the shades over so you can see.
Oh yeah, I do that.
So with that said, these are going to come off after a while. I can tell you that right now. But
they look good.
Thank you. Yeah, they look. Yeah, okay, there we go. So I want everybody to meet the panelists first. Please I'm going to let you introduce yourselves and just take a little thing about, why you like traveling real quick. And then we're going to kind of go and get some people off the street that we heard about and get some conversation going. So I'm going to start with the wonderful couple here. Pull them in.
Hey, everybody. We are Scott and Nancy. And for me, travel is about the adventure and the connection to our planet. There's no other place that I am more grounded than next to a waterfall to make my life decisions. For me, that is the passion about traveling and being out there.
Yeah. And, travel, yes, as well, does all of that for me. But I think most of all, it's, really connecting with, not just nature and other people, but with yourself. So, getting into new places and, dropping all the worries and things that we usually take along with us and really getting into a place that you connect with yourself.
Amazing. Awesome. Now I'm going to chime in. I'm going to bring in Mrs. Dr. Randy here. So either she wants to introduce herself and then take from what Scott and Nancy said a little bit.
Well, I'm Dr. Randi Ward from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm a lifetime educator and editor and book writer and all this stuff. So I love to travel because I love to delve into the culture. All these things that I've read about as a child and all the places I wanted to see. And I've made lifetime friends. I actually have 5,000 Facebook friends in 63 countries. And some of them I've actually been able to meet in person now. Wow. And it's just a blessing to meet all these people. So I've been in 61 countries, as I said, and I just love traveling. I've been in 4 continents, and it's a blessing to see the things with my own eyes. And I actually write about it in this book. In my new novel that's coming out, it travels to 7 countries and 4 continents. And I incorporated some of my friends, my real friends, as fictional characters in my book. So I actually use my travel in my writing. I actually taught in Egypt as an English teacher, and I wrote my memoir about living in a revolution and being an English teacher in 2011, 2012. So my travel has allowed me to also write about my life experiences.
Now that was a mic drop. 5,000 in different countries? OMG. Okay, we're going to go to Mrs. Kristina.
Hey, everybody. Awesome and glad to be a part of this panel. What brought me to traveling was when I was younger in my 20s in college, I traveled a lot, but then I became a mother. And not only that, but my husband and I came to the decision to homeschool our children. I homeschooled successfully for 12 years. We have a college graduate. One's getting ready to graduate next semester. But we incorporated travel as a part of our homeschool experience. And our lives have never been the same. Because for us, what it did, it brought experience to life, just the observations, the exposure. But most importantly, it showed our children how to navigate life outside of home, outside of the 4 walls of a classroom. It made what we learned in the classroom, they then had to apply it to real life in real time. So, and then just the different places across the state where we travel by air, but also we love road trips more because we incorporated it into lessons. So that's why I love to travel. And now that we're have young men as children, we still travel as a family. So that's why.
Awesome.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Educator Randy loves that.
So I want to thank you, all of you, for introducing yourself. Yeah, I'm going to have to take these shades off. They're killing me. Can't do it right now. I got to see people. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to show some summer vibes. So I have a little video so we can kind of get more into the different type of things that you can do on summer travel. So let's play this little video, get kind of, get your little vibe on, and then we're going to get back to our panel. I don't know. That made me put my shades back on. I don't know. I couldn't help myself. So with that, we want to get more into our panelists, and I have some goodies for them. They're going to be like, Barbara, how did you do that? So first, we're going to start with our wonderful couple here. That you know what, they're very humble because they have traveled and they have done some fun things, and I just want to show you just a little tad bit of what they've done. Ha!
Wow.
As you can see, we like to get into waterfalls and do some adventure, but more importantly, take other people with us. We like to share the things that we find and the places that we find with other people. That really is our biggest thing.
Wow. So Scott, I was just going to ask both of you. I mean, what made you start? Because you do a lot of different retreats and you just really like the outdoors a lot. So what kind of made you just say, I just like to do this like on a normal basis, basically?
Yeah, it actually started 27 years ago or something. So I was in the movie industry, or am in the movie industry. Have been for 30 years. And some of you may know we work very hard for several months to a year, and then sometimes we get several months off. And I was really looking for something I could do in that space. And a big hobby for me was rock climbing and hiking and finding waterfalls. So I opened a rock climbing gym. I began to take people outside, and I really learned that within that adventure, people's lives changed. And I got to have a hand in it with just a conversation, just with the way that my mindset happens to be. And utilizing that adventure, it was the most powerful calling of purpose in my life. And for the next, many years, I focused on building that and sort of steering away from the movie industry. And now movie industry is more of a hobby when I take a movie, and this becomes the life that we get to live.
Yeah.
Boy, I need to come, and you need to adopt me because I want to go and do that. Can I come on? I come. I love it, love it, love it. And you're just that's what it is about life. I mean, you only, like a lot of people say, you only get this one time, and you need to enjoy yourselves, enjoy the people that you're around. And you know what? I love what you said, Scott, about, helping others, making sure others are having that same type of atmosphere when you're traveling, when you're doing things. So, I mean, that is amazing, amazing. Okay.
Well,
go ahead.
Our culture, this cult that we live inside of all of us, wants to teach fear instead of adventurous mindset. They want to teach separation mindset and problem mindset. So when we can find an adventurous mindset, it helps us to actually become solution oriented in our whole lives. And what a happier person we become when we choose the solutions for the journey that we're on.
Yes. Ooh, that's it. Does anybody else want to comment on that? That was powerful. Anybody want to comment on what Scott said? That was powerful.
Well, I'm the same way. I do things that people think are crazy, like walking with lions in Zimbabwe and playing with cheetahs in South Africa and riding and walking, riding ostriches and playing with going on game drives in every country I can, and going up in hot air balloons. I mean, I love all these things, so I'm with them. I could go on their adventure. I'm not so much a water person because I've had always bad knees in my life, but I love the adventure and taking risks, not dangerous risks, but just fun risk. And people think, as I'm sure Nancy and her husband feel, they think we're a little crazy sometimes, but hey, it's life, and it's sharing and all the adventures and learning all this new stuff. And doing things that other people wouldn't do. These are some of my most precious memories, and I'm sure they feel the same way.
Ooh, you have any take on that, Christine? You want to add to it?
I'm just in awe and listening. I'm taking it all in. I'm still on the rock climbing and the waterfalls and everything, just in awe.
Well, we're gonna keep moving on with this being in awe. I want to get to Dr. Random. I'm gonna play another clip. This is her clip, and I want to see if she remembers this because she travels so much. I don't know if she remembers this particular video, so we're gonna take a peek at this.
Huh?
There he is.
Oh, he's sweaty. Pull it out. Of course they like him.
Oh, so cute.
I don't know. Crumbs or something. Oh,
Amazing.
The diver's going to come around to the right, the other side.
Yes, I do remember that. We were in a submarine, and that was so cool. Yes, I loved that. Yes,
Yeah, when I seen that
it was an
clip, I was
amazing
like, "Oh my!"
experience. And when a diver swam by us, we were going, "Oh my God, there's a diver!" Yes, I remember that well. But I still think my most wonderful experience was my hot air balloon over the Masai Mara in Kenya and looking down and seeing the animals. That was even more precious in that moment, because like I said, I'm a water person, but I like really being above the ground more, and so yeah, but I remember that so well. And where did you find that? On my Facebook? I'm curious. Little secret there, huh?
Yeah, I dig. I
You
dig.
did.
Yeah.
You did. I'd forgotten about that. Thank
You
you
know
for
what?
reminding me.
Yeah, see the memories. Another thing, bringing back the memories of when you travel. It's one thing
Yes.
to do the traveling, but the memories are so treasurable. Isn't that right, Doc?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So okay, I didn't forget Christina. I have something for her. I'm digging. I dug. So let's see this little picture, hooray, and she can give us a little memories on this.
Oh, where'd you get that? Okay. You had a little remix going on right there.
A Ricka remix.
You had a little bit of me traveling as an executive with me traveling with my family. Okay. Okay. For us, wow, you kind of made me tear up a little bit with the video with my sons because it was after his college graduation, one of those was, and we took a trip. But for us, for traveling, I remember when I was looking out the window and how the world is our home, is a classroom. And even though I've traveled in different realms, different extremes, you never stop learning. And the world is a classroom. And even that picture was when we were coming back in from landing. And actually, I was on a business trip returning back home. And what I was thinking was even coming back into my city, just thinking in awe, seeing just the return differently, even looking at how the city, the view of the city had changed in just literally a matter of months from the last time I took off and returned back. So for me, I just remember looking out that window and remembering and reminding myself that the world is always the classroom. I'm always constantly learning. When we traveled with our children, when they were still being educated through homeschooling, one of the things was cognitive thinking skills and being able to think out of the box. Because when you travel, we all know we can plan all day long. I mean, to a T, and I'm a planner, especially when you travel with little people. But stuff happens. And being able to think quick, being able to think as a team, being able to implement something right on the spot, and your plan went to go this way, but it went this way either because of transportation, or you didn't expect for there to be road work going on in the city that you had planned to go in, and Google takes you a different way when you decide to walk and not get on the metro. That's a whole nother story. But when you're in DC. Just for me, those shots and video that you brought up, Barbara, just made me remember that the world is constantly our classroom and we're forever learning. But you got to be thirsty and willing to get out there and take the adventure.
Yes.
Fabulous. As the show is, let's talk fabulous. So I see, I love when I can surprise my panelists. I hope I did my job. So with that said, we're going to hear some people from the street, and I want my panelists to kind of listen to what they said. Now, Kristina said something about preparation and making sure you have a checklist and all that stuff. You know, I have to say myself, I totally do the opposite. In fact, I pack like an hour before I have to go. Do what I don't, don't do what I do. Okay. Don't do. Some people pack 5 days before. No, Barbara has to pack an hour. So we want to hear some tips from our panelists regarding that, but we're going to hear from one Mrs. Lachelle off the street to see what she says about travel.
Hey, it's America's Supermom, and I'm here to give you some travel tips for any place that you might want to go. The first thing is to create a checklist. Always have a list of things that you're going to take for the trip, pajamas, things that even though you think I'm not going to forget them, put them on your checklist. The next thing is always having something to read. I have my own book, and it's a journal, but a book, a notebook, something to take notes. When you're in a new environment, usually you may have new ideas and different things that are outside of the box, so always have a way to capture those. The third thing is to dress comfortably. T-shirt, sweatpants, tennis shoes, and always take a jacket with you. You never know if it's going to be cold wherever you're traveling, in the airport, on the plane, or whatever mode of transportation. So those are a few things to get you started.
Thank you, fabulous Lachelle. So I want to go with the panel. She gave us some tips on, doing the checklist and making sure you get comfortable clothes. All that I did the opposite. So I'm learning already today what to do. So let's hear from panelists. Who wants to go first and some tips that you have? Okay.
My family calls me, my husband and my sons, they call me Dora the Explorer. This is why, because I got my handy dandy backpack. Everywhere we go when we're traveling, if we're flying, if we're driving. And what Miss Lachey, the super mom, said was making sure, they're like, Mom, everything you pull stuff out of that backpack that we would never think of. And how did you know we were going to need it? From wipes to Ziploc baggies of snacks and first aid. And even what she just said, reading, making sure there's little bitty reading things, to keep you occupied and things. So what she said is just traveling and making sure you're prepared, but really know the region that you're traveling in. Mm-hmm. Because my backpack changes regarding on which region we're going to, and it changes regarding weather or not. So that being prepared is key, is really, really, really key. But yeah, that's all I wanted to add.
Anybody else want to add after Miss Dora the Explorer?
I agree. I'm the same way. I'm sorry, go ahead. I always have a list, and I make a list of everything, things I have to do, things I want to take. And I actually put a list of the clothes in the suitcase. And then I also have one in my purse, because what if they lose my luggage? They want to know what was in there. I have everything. This is it. Here's my list. They look, of course, that's never happened, thank God. But at the same time, I'm ready. Also, depending, as she said, on the region you're going to, I take like supplies that I don't think I can get easily in Africa. Like,
That's
what
it.
if we cut ourselves or we need Band-Aids? There may not be a pharmacy close by that I can run in and get that stuff. So I make a list of things I know might be impossible to get and bring them with me. And I have to admit, I do overpack. I cannot go. I'm not one of those people that I can not have a checked luggage. I try to do one, but I have to have a checked luggage because I have all my toiletries that I take with me. I just can't do it. And I haven't learned to master that yet. And after all the years I've been traveling, but it's okay because I found that if I leave something out, that's the one thing I need. And I would regret it. So I'd rather have more than I need than not have enough. So I just take everything. I admit it. I take everything.
That's me.
I have more of a minimal approach to traveling. Yeah, I love the checklist. I generally bring a journal or a book for those times where you are in the airport. There's no Wi-Fi. There's whatever is going on. But I do agree, and my backpack usually has my clothes and all of the they call it the magic backpack. Because there's nothing that you need that I don't have in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think being prepared is 100% obviously what we need to do when we travel. But I think more importantly, we need to make sure we're bringing along a very flexible, adventurous mindset, right? Because we are going to forget things. We are going to not have every little thing you need at the moment, but let that be part of the adventure, right? When we can have that kind of mindset, it allows us to not freak out when we forget something, right? Because years ago, when I first started traveling around, it was like if you forgot something, you go into a freak out mode and it would take up like half your day or a full day on your trip going, oh my God. But you learn to adapt, you learn to overcome, and you start to realize it's not the end of the world. There is something you can do. And it actually adds to the adventure of the trip most times. Right. So that I think is like a huge tip for all of you travelers out there, wannabe travelers.
And we take that opportunity, and we have had this happen not only with us, but with our guests on retreats. And we take it as an opportunity, right? Part of having an adventurous mindset is the opportunity that you're given. Yeah. So we make the opportunity to go find whatever supply or piece or thing that we need at that moment and create relationships along the way. Yes. We get to meet new people. We get to share new stories or hear new stories or have somebody, oh, you know what? Come with me. And they take you and they bring you to the place where you can find what you need. And it's a beautiful way to travel.
Right.
Ooh. Doctor, did you have something to say? Agreeing.
No, I just was agreeing with them because they're very right about things. I've forgotten things and I don't panic anymore. I just go, well, if I can do without it, it's, I'm not going to die. I mean, it's not threatening, so I can do without it, but I agree with them. As carefully as you pack, you always forget that one thing, even after all your years of traveling, and it's okay. Don't panic. Just have a good time.
And that's where coming in, where I was talking about the cognitive thinking, and you got to think out of the box when stuff happens. I pack like that because I had to travel with littles. I mean, they're now young adults, but you also have to be mindful when you are traveling with children. Because my husband and I, we would tell people, they were like, how do you travel so much with the boys and you're homeschooling? And it's like, you got to be fearless, because if we teach them to have fear about traveling when they're little, I mean, now that they're 20 and 22, they're like, let's go, let's do it. Yeah, but even when you pack, I'm Dora. They call their dad Boots. They're like, look at Dora in Boots, and it's like when stuff still happens, you got to then be fearless and think out of the box, even when you're traveling.
Yep. Yeah. And it's a great point. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I was going to say, and you talked about it earlier, Kristina, what that does to our, how we are in everyday life, because it's the same, like the way we are when we're traveling and all the things that go awry and like things that start to happen. Life is the same way, right? So if we learn to be that way, and travel is a great way to condition ourselves, because there are things that happen and it kind of causes more things to happen. It allows you to have that mindset, have that fearless mindset in everyday life when things go, sideways sometimes.
Right.
That's it.
Ooh, you know what, everybody, I hope you have your notebook. I've been taking notes while everybody's talking. I'm just standing there learning. Just learning here. Thank you so much. Any more tips you have for the audience before we go to our next person on the street? They have some things to talk about, like when you're traveling overseas and stuff.
The number one thing that I teach is situational awareness. You know, situational awareness doesn't mean that I'm anxious, on guard, like looking around every corner. Situational awareness is like taking in the room, knowing where there's another exit, looking at the humans that are in that room, and is there somebody that's maybe a little unstable?
Yes.
Like, it's okay to recognize what is happening in our reality. And the reality is things go sideways. So, you know, the human brain wants to leave the same way it came in. A hotel room, a concert, a venue. Your brain automatically goes, I came in this way, I'm going to go out that way. That might not be the best thing. So with situational awareness, and I do not mean to put fear or anxiety, this is just a fact. With that situational awareness, we can go, oh, right, there's an exit back there. And if something was to go sideways, I'm going that way, away from where everybody came in, because again, 98% of the people are going where they came in.
Well, situational awareness actually takes away the fear for a lot of people who haven't traveled, because a lot of people look at people like all of us and are like, oh my gosh, I could never go to another country. Like they hear all these terrible, scary things, or we lose things, or I get lost. But with situational awareness, it cuts out like 95% of that stuff. So it allows you to take travel and put it into your life without fear.
Exactly.
Anybody want to add? This is good. Situational awareness.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Scott, because literally that's what we had to teach our sons at a young age. We're traveling with them. We had to tell them this is what we do if we get separated, because it could happen, especially when we were in large places, the Smithsonian with little people, you know, and even now that they're older. What you also said, my husband taught them, and we apply to everyday life. Be aware of your surroundings. When we're traveling in different cities, my husband taught our sons. He said, study people. He said, you want to blend in with where you're at. We don't want to look like tourists. We don't want to look like we're all excited. You know, just it's normal. You know, even down to, I remember when one of our sons had gotten like really anxious and, you know, and my husband was like, just breathe. Breathe like you will when we're at home. You know, we're here. So I'm so glad you brought that up, because when you're traveling with young children, we had to be very cognitively aware that just to go to the movie theaters, at one point in time, our sons were scared to go to the movie theaters just locally because of everything that was happening. So what you said, know your exits, know, you know, so, I'm so glad you brought that up. And a lot of people need to implement that when traveling with children.
Yeah. And it really is one of the most important human skills that we can acquire. And it is acquirable for everybody. Doesn't matter what age. And that's really the benefit of being able to talk about it here on this platform. So I thank you, you know, for allowing us the space to talk about this. And, you know, I get it from not only my career and the people that we take, but my son. I have a 25-year-old who travels for a living. That's his job. And bringing him up, I traveled for a living. So I got to really teach him all those little pieces. And it shows. I have a 24-year-old who's fearless of travel, loves it.
Yes.
Woo. Okay, this is some hot stuff. So I want to just get to our other person on the street. This particular person, she travels a lot globally too, and she has a few little things that she wants to express. We'll play it, Mrs. Irene, and we'll come to the panelists after that.
This is Irene Wagner. I'm going to give you some tips to travel overseas. Research the culture of the country that you're going. Learn few phrases that you are useful when you're traveling, like thank you, please. Can you please show me where my hotel is? Or where do I catch the bus. And also highly recommend carrying the currency of the country that you're going to. Have it on hand. A lot of small shops don't take credit cards. And make sure you call your credit card and let them know that you're traveling to a different country. I've had issues, so I want you not to have those issues. And also, I want you to immerse yourself in the culture. Walk on the off-beaten path. I know that every country that you go, there's some highlights and tourist attractions. Do them right away, and then go into the little cities and little streets and little corners of the country that you're going to explore, the culture, the food, the smells, the music, and you will have the most incredible trip. Hope these little tips help you. I love to travel. I will be going to Greece in 2 months, and I can't wait to explore the beautiful country of Greece. Thank you, and have safe travels.
Yes. You know what? I love what she said about enjoy just the whole experience,
Yes.
in the different cultures. So I want to, dig in a little bit with the panelists regarding that. I want to go to Dr. Randy on this one first.
Well, some of the countries, when we went to China in 1986, we had to go on a tour. So our trip was pretty much planned. But when I go to Europe with my husband, who passed away in 2019, we would rent a car and go on our own. And we would love to go into, the big cities. And I'd always plan the museums and everything that we had to see. We had to do those. But then I didn't want to eat in the tourist restaurants. We would go to a local and say, hey, where's the best place to get bratwurst in Germany? Where's the best place to get the best French food in Paris? And they would know. They would take us to the local restaurants and the places that the locals hung out. And it was usually a lot more reasonable, and the food was actually better with bigger proportions. Also, even though I'm an English teacher and I had 4 years of Latin, I don't speak any other language. I speak a little bit of Arabic because I lived in Egypt, just a little bit, a few phrases. But I've always found that if you find a student that looks like college age or a teenager, usually they speak enough English to help you. So go to them and ask them, and they can help you. Even older people sometimes won't admit that they speak English, but they understand you enough to help you. But people are always kind in these foreign countries, and with a smile, because I'm a smiler, go up and ask people to help you, and they will, including airports. I'm now traveling by myself for business, London, Dubai. I've been all these different countries now, going to the Philippines in October, and I'm going to be alone by myself. But I'm not afraid, like we were talking earlier, because I've got the experience, and I know what people, by the way they look, who I can trust if I need help. For instance, when I was in Dubai, I was a chancellor for an online university, and the university booked my flight. I was supposed to come home in January, and my return flight was booked for December. Yeah, it was kind of a mess. So I thought, how do I get home? So I found a person who worked he was on ground personnel. He wasn't even doing that, but because of my kindness and because of my patience, he rebooked my flight for me, and I got home. So do not be afraid to ask for help. People will be kind enough to help you. And that's part of being fearless. Don't just sit there and cry and go, I can't go home. Find somebody to help you. People are kind. And the world is people, the people are willing to help you. Like I said, and I love travel, and I love experimenting with all the new cultures. And even though I don't speak the language, English, we're so lucky that we speak English because it is a universal language, and people around the world can understand us enough to help us.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Anybody want to add to that, to Dr. Randall?
Yeah, I applaud my movie business career for a lot of things, and that lessons, like life lessons, that I learned in that particular industry. And traveling, we travel all over the world, and that was one of the best pieces, is that I go off the beaten path. Even with our clients now on our adventure retreats, we go off the beaten path. There's less people, right? You get better private tours. You get better food in restaurants. And I really want to touch on the kindness of humanity. We are in a period of time where if you watch the news, and I applaud you to just get rid of it, stop watching it.
Yes.
But if you do, it is creating this separation, this fear amongst humanity.
Yes.
And we are not that. I can tell you from somebody that travels all over the world, I am a people person. Okay. I don't know if you can tell, but I talk to everybody from the cashiers in the grocery stores to like everybody, people on the street, everybody. And I love it. And what I'm here to tell you, humanity is kind. Humanity is genuine. Humanity is caring and loving. And we have to really let people know that this stuff that we see broadcast from the news channels is not what it's like in the streets of other countries.
That's right.
Like Dr. Randi said, it's about how you approach people. You know, if you approach someone in a certain way and without judgment, you're going to get a very different response. You know, so it really is your energy as well.
I don't know, Kristina, do you have anything to add to that?
Just humanity, smile.
Yeah.
You know, the human interaction. And there's so much going on in the world that, to me, literally is trying to stop human interaction. And we need that human interaction with one another. Even though, like, we're doing this through Zoom and video calls and everything else, at the end of the day, we still need human interaction and just smiling at each other when you're traveling. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, that interpersonal connection is so important. And we really are losing it with technology. And technology is great. It helps our business. It helps so many things. But we have lost that interpersonal connection.
Yes.
And to regain that, we can spend more green time and less screen time with loved ones, with friends, and meeting new people in new cultures to show you how kind humanity is.
Yes.
Wow. That was, Scott, say that again. More what time instead of screen? I love that. What you just said?
More green time, less screen time.
Yes.
Exactly. Screen time. Oh my God. You need to put like some copyrights on everything you're doing, Scott, because you're dropping some wisdom.
Y'all can have it. Y'all can have it. I don't want copyrights on it. I want to share it. I want to get it out to the world so that kids that are, you know, I see these 25, 27, 30-year-olds and they're anxious and they're depressed and they're scared and they're worried.
Yes.
And they're isolated. I want to share it. You can all have it. I don't want anything for it. Like, take these lessons and run and enjoy your life, right? We have a happiness challenge coming up because we see so many people that are unhappy. And I'm here to tell you that just like travel, happiness is a choice. And you can choose to stay stuck and fed up and tired and aggravated and separated, or you can choose to create happiness in your life. And one of those ways is to get out and meet new people and travel to new locations.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, people, please take notes. Have your notebook. Read. You gotta look at this again. I mean, I gotta do an old Usha moment right now for myself because I'm just so excited right now. I'm really excited. Scott, Nancy, Dr. Rand, Kristina, you are dropping some golden nuggets for people. I mean, people in the chat, they're loving everything you're saying. I mean, they're like, yes, thank you so much. And you know, the biggest thing I just want to say, and I think we all have touched on this, just going back to staying in the presence of what you're doing when you're traveling, enjoying the experience with not just yourself doing your thing and with family, but with other cultures, other people around you. A smile will take you a long way. Dr. Rand said it. She said it so clear. Some people tell me I smile too much, but I'm like, you know what? That's what I do. It's just there. So I understand what Dr. Rand is saying. But just a smile alone is just like a love language in a sense. Because they're like, oh, you're welcoming in with the smile. So little things like that we learned today helps. So
and what a beautiful way to interact with somebody in that first moment. Right?
Yes.
I see so many humans look and look away or look and look down.
Yeah.
How about look and just smile? It doesn't cost
Right.
anything.
Anything.
And
Yes.
you actually might save someone's life.
Ooh.
Yes.
You might actually
True.
save someone's life
Mhm.
with a smile.
Mhm.
Yes. That's true.
Mhm.
Mm. Anybody want to say something on that? That was powerful, Scott. Yes, you can.
Mhm.
Oops, let's get Christine on. I seen you nod. Did you want to add something to that?
Oh, just when he was saying you might save someone's life, you just don't know if somebody's having a suicidal thought or depressed or
Right.
anything, and they just needed somebody to say, "Hey, how you doing?" Just to smile at you. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Mhm.
They feel unseen.
Mhm.
This again, I go back to the interpersonal connection and this epidemic of loneliness.
Mm.
You know,
Mhm.
that person just might need somebody to see them for a moment.
Yes.
And that smile can give them that.
Yes.
Mm, mm, mm,
Well,
mm.
I'm proud that I'm an educator and I have been a mentor to so many young people in third world countries. I have a lot of Muslim friends because of living in Egypt, and I didn't know anything about Islam because I'm a devout Christian, but you wouldn't believe how many Muslim friends I have, and we're like family. And they had misguided opinions about Christians and Americans and all that. And because of my interaction with them, they now are reading the Bible and appreciating it. They're still Muslims. They're still, that's fine. I'm still going to Christian and we're not going to change. But they're saying, oh, I love your book and we have a lot in common, your Bible. And also now they think we're not all the ugly Americans. We're not all rich. We're not all out here killing each other. And we're not thinking we're better than the rest of the world. We're just people like you. So that interaction with all these people, like I said, with my 5,000 Facebook friends in 63 countries, I think I've become a humanitarian in that way. And I've received humanitarian doctorates for my humanitarian work, so I'm very proud of that. But I love, like I said, like everybody else, I love meeting people and I love sharing my culture, but I also love sharing about their culture. And if more people did that, I think we'd have fewer problems in the world, We wouldn't have all these wars and all that. If people just learn to appreciate other people for who they are, even if they're different religion, different culture, different race, whatever, it doesn't matter. We all have the same needs and the same passions and the same desires for a better life. And we just need to embrace that. But a new book is coming out that I'm the editor. I'm also in it. It's called Expert World Leaders. And we just had a Zoom today. And these are people from all over the world doing amazing things to help change the world. And I would love for you people to eventually maybe be in our book because we're going to do a volume every year. So I want to get back with you guys because you need to share your passion and your expertise with the world. So keep that in mind. Keep in touch with me. I've been listening to you.
Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Rand, for that. I want to, because of time is a ticking, I do at the last minute my little fun game. I kind of created this the last few weeks. And what I like to do is I want to go around the room with the panelists to make sure that they give any lasting thoughts regarding the topic for the day. But you have to do it within 30 seconds. That's the trick. That's the trick.
Okay.
So we're going to I'll start with Dr. Rand.
Okay. Well, I consider traveling to be a magical wonderland. I've learned a lot about exciting cultures and learned about unfamiliar cultures. I've made so many beautiful friends out there. Eating food that I would never eaten before. But I'm adventurous. I like to try everything, and I just think that everybody should travel, even if it's not out of the country. Travel to other parts of the country, our country, because the Southern culture is different from the California culture and the New York culture. We're all different, but if you embrace everybody, you're going to be a better person, and you're going to be a happier person because you're learning that you're unique, but other people are unique too, and you can use your uniqueness to and bond together to do amazing things. And I think we all should do that.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, our wonderful couple.
I saw a sign the other day that said, you're unique just like everybody else. And I thought that was really neat. I would say develop an adventurous mindset. Yes. And that doesn't mean jump off waterfalls. What that means is live a life of curiosity, live a life of possibility, and live a life from your heart space.
Yeah, stepping out
Yes.
of your comfort zone is the fastest way to self-growth. And when we travel, we step outside of our comfort zone hundreds of times in ways that you won't even know until you get going and do it. So get out there, step outside your comfort zone and grow. Because if we're not growing, as Tony Robbins said, we're dying. So
Yep.
Yes.
And that travel can be in your city, in your state,
exactly, anywhere.
Right? Again, it's not this giant thing. We like to talk about 1 degree shifts, small incremental pieces that create the lifestyle change, that create that possibility and that adventurous mindset.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, I see it's on me. So for me, travel, what we said to our sons when they were young, I remember 2007, I said to our children, starting locally to be effective globally. Sometimes people can't travel the world. Sometimes people can't travel out of their state, but if they just begin to travel locally and learn about the different cultures locally, actually that does become an effect globally because it changes your mindset. And once your mindset changes, it can be a ripple effect across the world. So that's for us, travel, we always see it as starting locally to be effective globally. But also, I want to go back to the smile. Every time we smile and we travel, we meet people. If you're traveling to the grocery store, if you're traveling to Dubai, whichever it may be, every time we smile at one another, we are pouring into the garden of somebody's soul. So then in turn, you're helping to cultivate the gardens of their souls. So that's my take on travel.
Yes.
I love that.
I love you all so much. The flowers behind me loves you too. And everybody that's watching is putting the love out for you. So thank you so much. I just want to say that this has been an awesome talk, awesome conversation. See, I like when you have these conversations when you bring two people together, all understanding the same thing, and then you get so much more out of it. Don't stand alone. I've seen somebody say about they're kind of nervous traveling alone. I hope through all these tips and you heard all these wonderful stories from these awesome panelists that it's okay. You look at the news so much, you will be closed up in your house. Believe me, I know this for a fact. So you don't want that. You need to go out, grow, learn, educate yourself, be around among the culture. So with that, we're going to have to sign off just for today, but we'll be back next Sunday with a wonderful topic. And I want to leave everybody with this song from our wonderful Skip Thomas and Juju. It's called "We Are the Ones." It's a beautiful song. And I'm telling you, I'm going to leave off with this song. So panelists, again, thank you so much, Kristina, Scott and Nancy, Dr. Randi. I love you guys. Thank you again for being on the show. Thank you, Tamara, Queen, for letting me be a host, a guest host again. And we will see you next Sunday.
Bye.
Together, we are stronger than sadness. Together, we are stronger than cancer. Together, we are stronger. We are one. We are love. We are hope. We are the ones to change the world with our hearts. We are one. We are love. We are hope. We are the ones to change the world with our hearts. Human hope, hearts, hearts, love, love, love. Human hope, hearts, hearts, love, love, love. Human hope, hearts, hearts, love, love, love. Human hope, hearts, hearts, love. We are one. We are love. We are hope. We are the ones to change the world with our hearts. We are one. We are love. We are hope. We are the ones
change the world with our hearts. We are the one to change the world with our hearts.